My name is Jeff, and I'm going to talk about the role of science in exploration. I'm going to move this down. And I'm going to talk about that in the context of the Kamchatka Project, a National Geographic funded trip that I took to the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. And in my day-to-day life, I spend most of that time doing calculations. I'm a theoretical physicist. And so I spend all of my day in front of a computer typing things out. And this is what my stuff looks like. So this is what my computer looks like on a day-to-day basis. And this is actually from my dissertation research. And I do other things though, right? And I have other passions, and one of them is doing gravitational experiments. And so this is one of my gravitational experiments. And it's my passion for kayaking that brought me to do the Kamchatka Project. And you might be asking the question right now, where is Kamchatka? Well, either you are asking that question or you've played the game Risk. If you've played the game Risk, you know that, I must just be a loud talker, that Kamchatka is on the far eastern edge of Russia, just across from Alaska, and it takes a long time to get there. And Kamchatka had piqued our interest for a really long time. My friends and I had run over 1,000 rivers all over the world, and not only do we want to go and do unrun whitewater, but we also wanted to have a positive impact on the place that we were going. And as a science coordinator, it was my job to talk to scientists, figure out what research we could do, then talk to the producers at National Geographic to try and translate that over to them. And we needed their help, because it cost $3,000 an hour for that helicopter to go to these rivers. While we were on the ground, I was in charge of taking data, and hopefully in the future, I'll be able to help this man, Nicholas Zaeg, who we got information from. He's a hydrologist at West Virginia University. And I also spent a lot of time reading up about the Kamchatkan brown bear. This photograph is taken basically right outside of that helicopter, those big prints there. And it turns out the Kamchatkan brown bears don't attack very often, but when they do, it usually happens to be near whitewater where they can't hear you coming. That's the kind of thing you find out. Just downstream from those footprints, we finally found what we were looking for, beautiful stretches of unrun whitewater. Ethan just nailed this drop. And one of the funny things is, as a physicist, I look at this and I think, how long did it take him to get to the bottom of that? And I can answer that question. And if you want to, for homework, you can calculate what the height is. And the funny thing is that these calculations, they're not that useful for this kind of trip. But our abilities as scientists in general are very, very useful. And it was those abilities to communicate with other scientists, and my proximity to scientists and conservationists and people who work at NGOs, they really helped me bring home the points and convince National Geographic that this was a worthwhile expedition to fund. Now, it's also the fact that as a scientist, we're known for taking data all the time, right? And this is what endears us to the public, is we're just always out there taking more data. Up there on the right, we're taking data with a water bottle and a throw rope. Down there, I have a gun to my head. That's to protect me from this guy right here. This is Kura Lake, a World Heritage Site. This is the largest concentration of the Kamchatkan brown bear in the world. This is the second largest population of spawning sockeye in the world. The peninsula has up to 1/4 of the world's salmon, but they're in trouble. They're in trouble from poaching and from development. These mafioso-looking gentlemen are out there collecting caviar. Now, this is a small-time operation, but big commercial operations can have a huge impact on the ecosystem of an entire river. And another big problem is the Russian bureaucracy. There are tons of regulations, but there's just not enough money to enforce them. And so you have to deal with this somehow. We have to figure out what we're going to do with this. And so the big question then becomes, what is our role in trying to help Kamchatka? How can we help? What is our role as scientists in general to help the world? And that's a big question that I can't answer for any of you. But I can answer the question of what did we do for Kamchatka? And the answer is that we shouted from the rooftops everything we could about how beautiful a place this was. We went and published as many things as we could in publications. We shared our pictures with the world in as many places as we could. I cannot take credit for any of these beautiful pictures, unfortunately. These were all taken by my teammates. But the most important thing we did was that we convinced National Geographic to film an episode of the show Monsterfish. And that's Zeb Hogan down there in the lower left. He goes around, educates people about amazing fish. And him and the InFocus Asia production team helped us bring our message to over 100,000 people in the world. This is us on set. This is me catching a 30-inch, 5-kilogram resident rainbow trout. This is the first trout I ever caught. This experiment changed me. And as scientists, we're all explorers. We're all out there on the edge of understanding. And I want you to take that into account as you move forward and explore to conserve. Thank you.